Hey everyone, my name's Jesus Gringo. I'm coming to you from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and this video is titled, Being Anti-Karen Reed is the Same as Being Un-American. And let me be clear, that doesn't matter whether you think she did it or not. The standard in the United States is beyond a reasonable doubt. Think of all the juries in the past who sent someone to death row because they were so sure, and then DNA evidence later exonerated that person. We make mistakes, juries make mistakes. So the idea is you got to be beyond that reasonable doubt, or you could very easily be sending an innocent person to jail. And there is a truckload of innocent or reasonable doubt in the Karen Reed case. Number one, the cops never went in the house. It was a she said, they said. She said John O'Keefe got out, went in the house. They said he never came in. There's a dead body on the lawn. You go search that house. And as many people have pointed out, not just to see if the killer's there, but to see if anybody else is hurt, because they didn't come out when there was a body on their lawn. You don't know what's going on in that house. And even if you don't get the search warrant then, you get the search warrant the minute you get Officer O'Keefe's Apple stair data back saying he climbed stairs at the time that Karen Reed said he went in the house. That's your probable cause that he did. And look at you clowns being so certain that Apple screwed up and that those stairs aren't real. Apple uses an algorithm. It doesn't have a stair counter. And let me tell you, when you're doing 15 to 35 miles an hour driving after the bar to go to the after party at 34 Fairview, you might be going slow, closer to 15 with the conditions. You might be doing 35. Either way, Apple's algorithm knows that that's way too fast for a human being to be moving while climbing stairs. You're that sure that Apple made a mistake? And then on top of that, you're also saying in a routine DUI hit and run that Google made a mistake and got the search time wrong on Jennifer McCabe's phone, and that of all the searches she ever made, like 4,500, she only ever deleted one. And that's not reasonable doubt to you people? The fact the feds didn't buy the story at all based on the injuries, and they knew there were other shenanigans from the Birchmore case where they actually ended up prosecuting a cop for killing her. They knew there was stuff going wrong in this department, so they hired PhD experts to come in, and they used physics to conclusively prove scientifically he wasn't hit by a car. So not only do you have the ARCA experts casting doubt, did you not see those community college townies under oath who couldn't answer the difference between momentum and velocity, two of the most basic things in all of physics? Said you couldn't calculate what happened because it was a sideswipe? Of course you could calculate what happened. He couldn't calculate what happened because he's a dumbass. But if you know calculus and differential equations, you can eliminate the other variables. It's definitely calculable. 100% they could have. You have two police officers who were at the party that get rid of their phones the day before the preservation order comes down. One of them throws the phone in a military dumpster after cutting up the SIM card, and that's not reasonable doubt to you that something went on in that house? Again, you can still believe she did it, but you have to say as an American, this is reasonable doubt. I could be wrong. It doesn't matter if you're 90% sure in your head she must have done it. It makes the most sense, like supposedly some of the jurors did. No, the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt. His stair data says he got out of the car and climbed some stairs. That's doubt as to, he went in the house. They're lying, he didn't go in. The house long to die in cold, that typoed Google search, you really think in a routine hit and run DUI that Google's going to make up data, that Apple's going to make up data that exonerates the person who hit someone with their car while they're drunk? That's reasonable doubt. The fact the cops didn't question anyone until months or years later, that is reasonable doubt. Like, what are we doing here, people? I really don't think you understand what it means to be an American. The scratches on the arm do not look like a tail light at all. You've had a doctor who saw them, who's done thousands of ER visits, took one look and she calls up the defense and is like, no, these are dog bites and or scratches. That's reasonable doubt. What are we doing here, people? Seriously, what is wrong with you? Why are you the most un-American clowns I've ever seen? There is a boatload of reasonable doubt. I don't believe she did it. But if I did believe she did it, I would never, ever find her guilty because of just the pure incompetence of the Canton PD and the Massachusetts State Patrol. Their refusal to fully recuse themselves correctly. Like, this whole thing is tainted from start to finish. And you want more reasonable doubt? The cops on the scene thought it was a fight. So did the first responders. The only person who thought it was a car was disgraced former trooper Michael Proctor. He was relieved from duty and fired, one reason being for his bias in the case. 16 hours later, without ever seeing the scene of the victim, he's got it all wrapped up and he's going to pin it on the girl. I don't know what's wrong with your brains. All of that is just a mountain of reasonable doubt, even if you think she really did it. It's a mountain of reasonable doubt. What are we doing here, people? We're here because for some reason, there's a boatload of Americans who are so goddamn stupid, they don't know what reasonable doubt is. I don't know what's wrong with you people. I never will. You know, I live in Mexico. We don't really have much justice down here. I grew up in Westwood off Canton Street, but I moved down here about 13, 14 years ago. I live in Mexico City now. We're on vacation. We had to have a documentary made where it was called Presunto Culpable, because in Mexico you're basically presumed guilty and then you have to prove your innocence, which is horrible. They changed the Constitution because of that movie. Came out maybe, I don't know, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. I don't know that it's had a practical effect, but we don't have justice here. You get locked up, you could spend a couple of years in jail, and you don't even know what's going to happen. There's none. I don't want that in America. We have a system that works. It's magnitudes worse if the Canton Police and the Massachusetts State Patrol are allowed to get away with shenanigans. Letting one drunk driver off, if that's what you think she is, who killed someone, isn't going to bring the system to its knees. But allowing the MSP to just constantly violate procedure, violate people's rights, not do a thorough investigation is going to lead to a lot more innocent people ending up in jail. That is not something we should have happening in Massachusetts. It's crazy to me that people are even considering locking this woman up just based on how poorly that investigation was handled. Never mind all the technical data exonerating her. Like, do you know how dumb you have to be to say, I am so goddamn sure Apple just made up stairs and Google just made up a search term that I'm willing to send a woman to jail for the rest of her life? Like, what's wrong with you? Either one of those, the Google search or the Apple one, just needs to be true. She didn't do it. That's reasonable doubt. Again, what's wrong with you? I don't understand. And I'm going to finish with something some of you aren't going to want to hear. But let's say she did do it. She didn't, so I'm not blaming the victim. But let's say she did hit him. I don't need justice for John O'Keefe. Why was she the one driving that night? Because he's a Boston cop who doesn't want to get the DUI. He wants to go out and party, but he wants to stick her with driving so that he won't lose his job, you know, his pension, everything he's built up. I mean, maybe he wouldn't get fired if he didn't hit anyone, but he wasn't an innocent victim. Going out and getting yourself plowed to the point you're over .2 and making your girlfriend be the one to drive because you can't get a DUI is not somebody who desperately needs justice. Like, I don't get you people at all on that point. Two people go out drinking and one of them kills the other or one of them gets seriously hurt. They're both adults. They both got in the car. There might have to be legal consequences, no doubt. We have to punish drunk drivers. But this idea he needs justice, no, he doesn't. He was a cop who was obligated to not let her drive drunk. He has a duty as an officer not to get in the car with someone who's been drinking. We all have that moral duty and we're all responsible if we get in the car, but we don't have the legal duty that he has. And he did it so he wouldn't get a DUI. So if you believe she hit him, get off your high horse. He's no fallen angel. He willingly got in that car with a drunk driver because he didn't want to get the DUI. So stop acting like this is some angel. It's not like he was doing traffic duty that night and she's some random who plows into him when she's drunk. Yeah, he would need justice. He also needs justice if he was beaten to death. But if he decided to go out drinking with someone and that person accidentally hit him because they were both so drunk, they're both equally morally guilty. Get off this fake high horse, people. Anyway, my name's Jesus Gringo. If you liked the video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.